Hi, everybody. This is Anthony Hines. How are we today? Hope everybody's doing well. Um, I wanted to start out by saying um, that a lot of people are getting jobs, and because they're getting jobs, we got some good news tonight. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Jamie in if I can figure out how to let him in. Jamie, here we go. You're here. Let's see now. How can I make sure I let you in? How can I make sure I let you in? Let's see. Where are the? We'll get the chat things. We get the chat up? Let's see. Here you go, Jamie. All righty. Invite up to 10 guests. There you go, Jamie. Finally, I got
Hey,
I had a little bit of a just a question there, but I just
yeah,
let
you're
Jamie.
good. There you go. Hey, can you see me okay?
Woo! I can hear you great. You know what, Jamie? We're gonna talk a little bit because I am getting a ton of my people that do my podcasts and do my videos that are getting jobs. Jamie, tell me
Good.
tell me about you, buddy. What's going on in your world um before I start talking? What
Oh man,
your
staying
world then?
busy. Staying busy. I'm working with four different people right now on their resume and a few people with other sessions like interviewing and LinkedIn. But proud to announce that one of my clients last week just got a job with a pretty big company in Florida. I can't announce the name of it yet. They posted a post yesterday. Just saying that they got an opportunity and they kind of gave me a shout out. But yeah, just got a really good job with a pretty sizable company doing what they love, and it's exciting. I worked on his resume and did some interview practice with him, and yeah, ended up landing an opportunity. But like you said, I mean, people are business is picking up. People are getting more interviews. I'm seeing job searching announcements. I'm working with more people now than ever. I mean, it's that time of year. We're starting to pick up. We're almost in February, which means hiring is jobs are going to start popping up here and there, everywhere. And just got to get in and make sure you're ready.
Stefan, I sent you the link to come up on stage. Stefan Efford is one of my people, Jamie. He's based in Japan, and he just got a job. So I sent him the link to come up online if he wants to. Stefan, that's up to you if you want to come up and talk. If not, just put in the chat. Um, I know that Christy is here tonight. Christy Williams. Christy, you got any questions for us? Jamie is really good. He can answer all your questions. I'll defer to him
I've
because
been
I
trying
just
to. I've been really trying to work with Christy. Actually, I know she comments on a lot of my posts, but just hasn't happened yet. But
oh yeah,
hopefully,
she's hard to get, Jamie. She's like
hopefully she's doing
she's
good
like
out
a
there, and
fish.
hopefully the job search is going well. I mean, that's all I can ask for is that people's job
Yeah,
search is going well.
she's like a fish. She swims in, she swims away, she swims in, she swims away, and then just when you think you got her hooked, she'll swim away on you again. So, 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 Christy,
Fish
what do you
got
got?
to get the hook. I
Yeah,
tell
you
people
got.
this. I've been talking to people, and I'm like, some people are like, oh, I can't afford to spend thousands of dollars on career coaching. Da 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 da. I'm like, whoever said anything about thousands of dollars? I don't even charge that much. So like, it's funny when people, I always tell people this, like, and I get it. Your bills got to come first, right? Your bills got to come first, and your finances got to come first. But I always tell people before you get to that point where you're at a point where every paycheck counts. If you're getting unemployment, if you were just laid off, if you can afford to put a couple $100 to working with somebody who's going to help you get into a job, the payoff, it just makes sense, right? You spend a couple $100 here, you get a job that makes you what you're looking to make, maybe more. It ends up being a drop in the bucket, right? But if you get to that point where you procrastinate, and now you're living paycheck to paycheck. And I know it's tough out there. You got to do what's best for you, but you got to do it when you have the chance to do it, right? Because you might not have the chance later on, and then it makes it a lot harder, you know?
Yeah, you know what, Jamie? What really happens is for the first X amount of weeks or months that a lot of people are unemployed, they lean on the transitional services, thinking the transitional services will magically get them a job. When all the transitional services are doing are getting you ready to search on your own. But you know, you got to think when you're fresh off the job, you've just been hit with it. You've just had it come at you that you believe, it's like the Titanic, right? You're looking for any type of a life raft. You're looking for a piece of wood. You're looking for anything to help you to float. And a lot of times people perceive that the transitional services are that lifeline to help you to float. What I tell people about transitional services is you have to manage that, right, Jamie? You have to tell them what you want. You have to say, look, do you have people in this company? I just applied there. I have an
Right.
interview.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody over there? You got to drive them, Jamie, right?
The thing with the transitional services, and it's nice that some workplaces offer it, but they a lot of times they have a one size fits all approach. They work with a group of people, right? They don't really personalize certain things and whatnot. That's the difference. I mean, they're a company that's in the corporate world that does things a certain way, right? And that's just the way it is. What I do is, I give you that personalized approach, right? Everybody I'm working with right now comes from 4 different backgrounds and different points of their career, building resumes a certain way, right? It's not a one size fits all approach. And we got Steph in here who's looks like he's fumbling around something trying to get on camera here. Stefan, you there? We got the green. The green.
Hey, yeah, it's like the green slime, Soylent Green, Soylent Green, Stefan. A movie from the '70s, Soylent Green. You remember that, Stefan?
Slimer, are you there?
Yeah, Slimer. Right. He probably doesn't remember. He probably doesn't remember Soylent Green, which
I am. Can you hear me, Jamie?
He says he's
Hey,
joining.
there you go, baby. You're there. Now, Stefan, we see a green screen. What do you think, buddy?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. What about this green screen, buddy? What's up with that? Yeah, I can hear you. What about the green screen? Don't make believe you can't hear us, buddy. Come on now. I can hear you. All right? Let's make sure.
Yeah, I heard him. Are you there?
Yeah, he's there. He should be here.
Wait, hold on. Stefan, can you say something?
I just removed him and brought him back in. Stefan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not presentable right now. I wasn't planning to.
Dude, Stefan, I have a face for radio. I have a face for radio, buddy.
I can hear you, but
Okay, tell me more about the Anthony Hines job search.
I'm here.
Good. Can you hear us now, Stefan? Can you hear us? All right. Okay. So Jamie, he doesn't want to show his face, which people wish I didn't show my face. So go ahead, Stefan. Tell us about your job search. Tell us how it got successful. Tell us what worked.
Hey, there he is.
I see your eye. I can see your eyes, Stefan.
What do you mean you're not presentable? You look just fine.
You look great. I'll tell you, you look fabulous, buddy. What do you got?
Yes, I can hear you.
And you look fantastic, Stefan. Tell the people about your days post Takeda. Were you ever in Takeda in Boston? Weren't you in Takeda originally?
Yes, I was in Takeda for about 8 years.
8 years. Now, Jamie, Stefan is double. He is double powered because he's a job seeker who got a job. But you're from the world of HR, right, Stefan?
Yes, I am. I've been in HR for 25 years.
Here we go, baby. Here we go, Stefan. Yeah. Tell us all we should know about HR that nobody will ever say. Let's hear all the secrets, buddy. Let's hear all
I
the
think
secrets.
the one secret that hasn't been repeated that much is that opportunity knocks very softly sometimes. That
Okay.
you hear about opportunities, open positions, a recruiter that will talk to you, uh, someone that can have good advice, and oftentimes that those pieces of information come at you loudly and clearly, but they may not be the one piece of information that will get you the job. And when I look back in my career, when I joined Goldman Sachs, Takeda, and this new company that I'll be going into, which will remain unnamed on this call, in all three of those cases, the opportunity was so quiet that I almost ignored the opportunity each and every time. Uh,
Really?
in this particular case, for the company that I'm going into, I was contacted by an unknown recruiter that
Wow.
I thought at first it was a scam and that the recruiter wasn't serious. And then when he presented the role to me, it was not, it was kind of outside of the box. It was a combination HR and corporate communications role. So it didn't neatly fit into the HR rubric. And the way they positioned the role to me didn't make me think I was a good fit for the company or the role. And so I was ready to not even talk to the recruiter about it for all those reasons. But I thought that I had the time and I might as well see what this was about. So I did go ahead and have an initial call. This was the middle of the fall last year in October.
Wow.
And after talking to the recruiter once, I still wasn't convinced, but I agreed to have him send the resume to the internal recruiter at the company. And I passed the interview screen, and I had an initial interview with the hiring manager who liked my profile and put me in front of some other stakeholders in the US and Europe. And I passed that interview. And then the final round was in the middle of December. And I met with some fairly senior people in the company because this role, even if it's not so senior in title, it has direct exposure to the company's CHRO and CEO. And so they needed to have people vetting the candidates who had line of sight to that level in the organization. And I passed that interview as well. And here I am.
Wow.
But it all started with a LinkedIn message that I almost deleted without responding.
Wow. Well, a lot of people believe that. I'm going to stop with you for 1 second, Stefan. Jamie, look at the questions. Lauren put in a question and Christy put in a question. If you could answer them for Lauren and Christy, then I'll go back to Stefan because I don't want people to have their questions wait.
Yeah.
Do you see the questions?
So Christy says, do you recommend any AI apps like help us with our resume? I be honest with you, Christy, more and more companies are knowing now if you're using AI to build your resume. When I build resumes for people, everything's done from a human approach. I can almost tell when I see somebody's resume, it's AI. I mean, others outside of ChatGPT, I like using ChatGPT for ideas sometimes and things like that. But I don't really recommend relying on apps because on AI apps because a lot of times they sound a certain way. They make your resume sound very robotic and stuff like that, and not really from a human approach. And AI is only good for so much. I still think you need that human touch to a resume. That's just my opinion. Lauren says some professions have a format for their resumes. Is this not the case for corporate positions? I'm not sure what you mean by format for a resume. Like when I build resumes, I use one format for all types of people. Doesn't matter if you're a project manager, a teacher, somebody who's a VP. I just built a resume for someone who's a chief marketing officer looking for their next CMO role. And I have a certain corporate format that I use for all these people. Now, I sometimes add different sections depending on if they're like a college student. For a college student, I might put projects in there, things like that. But for the most part, I don't really see a different format with certain types of professions. Like I use the same corporate format for all types of professions, and I just tweak certain things in there, but ultimately it's the same format. So I don't know if that really helps what you're saying, but yeah, that's how I feel. I don't think I've ever met Lauren before, but yeah. Yeah, keep going, Anthony.
Christy had mentioned teal as well. Do you know anything about teal, Jamie?
Not a fan of teal. I go on the record. The people are probably not going to like me for saying this about it because, like, I've seen teal before. I'm not really a fan of their app and their website. I know they push their product really hard on LinkedIn. It's just once again, it's just another one of those apps. They try to get you in with a free version. They start charging you more money, stuff like that. There's nothing you can't do from a free version of like Chat GPT, things like that. I mean, yes, teal like reviews your resume and stuff like that, but all those types of those programs that like review your resume and give you a score and things like that, you got to remember a human built that, right? So what they feel like is, I actually work with a lot of transitioning teachers, Lauren, actually. It's funny you say that actually, but yeah, a human built these apps, right? So what one person thinks looks good in a resume, another person might not think so much. So you run your resume through several different programs where they rate your resume, and you're going to find the scores are going to be all over the place. And all that does, it makes you more confusing. Like I built a resume for somebody once. Like I ran it through a builder called Top Resume or something like that, and it scored a 76. And I was like, okay, try it in this program. What is it going to show you? Oh, this one gave it a 92. Okay, you didn't change anything. It's the exact same resume. That's the problem with a lot of these programs is that they're designed a certain way, and you could really confuse yourself a lot more, right? Stefan, I know you came from Decatur. I live right by a Decatur corporate office, I believe. And where is it located?
Oh, wow. Are you in Deerfield?
There's Bannockburn, Illinois, and then there's one in Round Lake, I think. Yeah, they have a few different buildings out here in Illinois, actually. So
yeah, they do. They do. I've been to the Deerfield office many times.
Yeah, Deerfield's the one I'm thinking about. Deerfield. Yeah, is it still there?
As far as I know, it's still there.
Okay, I used to live 20 minutes from there, so that's the building right off the highway. I remember it, and yeah, that was I remember that's a huge building they have there.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And I had been out that way for Osco a long time ago, when I was at one of the divisions of Osco Drug. So I've been out your way at that time a long time ago. Stefan, what was your experience with AI? Did you have any experience?
I do. I'm actually a big fan of AI as a general tool. But having said that, the way that I've used AI is for research and for idea generation.
Yes.
But I certainly don't use it to write for me key documents such as my cover letter or resume, for that matter. I have worked with experts in resume creation. Sorry, Jamie, that we didn't have a chance to work together. I've sourced locally, but I've worked with real humans on the actual documents. But I think AI as a reference tool is necessary because other candidates are doing the same, and I think you're shooting yourself in the foot if you ignore what AI can do entirely.
Like you mentioned, it's good for idea generation and things like that. You can still put things in your own words and do certain things, right? But companies, what I've been reading about now, and I've been talking to some of my colleagues or people I know who are recruiters and hiring managers. That's what I used to be, right? But I find that bigger companies now, and some companies have tools now that they're using to detect if something's written in AI and stuff like that. And, unfortunately, people are getting wiser on it. And the problem with that, AI is great. It is to a certain extent. Then you get to the interview portion, right? And sometimes you got people who are reading off a screen because they're trying to answer questions on the fly by typing in certain things on ChatGPT and reading them verbatim, right? And you can almost find when that's happening, and you can see that, right? So, I mean, you just have to, it's all about staying ready so you don't have to get ready. You got to prepare yourself. Use AI if you want to get some ideas and things like that. That's what it's used for. Idea generation, like you said, right?
I'll give you an example of how I used AI for my interview preparation, if you like.
Yeah, please do.
So with this current company that I'm joining, there were 2 panel interviews, which required me to provide answers in a condensed format to a multi-person audience. And so I needed to have my answers be tight and comprehensive. And I had to exude knowledge about the company's particular industry and strategic direction. And so I used AI to research the business strategy of the industry and of the company in particular. I translated that information into my own notes. And so I came to the interview with printed notes, and I told the interviewers that I brought some notes with me, and for the purpose of being comprehensive and efficient in my answers, I may be looking at my notes during the course of the interview.
That's okay.
Which I did. And I had practiced my answers enough that I wasn't just reading off what I had written, but it was a natural conversation. And occasionally I'd look at my notes to make sure that I wasn't leaving something out. But so it was a natural conversation, but the conversation was powered, if you will, by the information that I was able to get through ChatGPT, actually.
Yeah, you practiced it, got some ideas, you translated certain things, you practice it, and then you were ready to go. And that's good. They used it for the right things, right? And that's great. So, we've all used ChatGPT for ideas and things like that. Like I said, with my resumes, I do it from a human approach, obviously, but you're right. It's good for ideas and stuff like that, right? But some people rely on it way too heavily. And that's when it really can hurt you in certain ways, because then you get confused with certain things. You see different things. You're trying too many different things and whatnot, and things just come out robotic. So, but yeah, it's good for a lot of things. I'll talk about this, right? Let's talk about LinkedIn in general. Right? I want to talk a little bit about LinkedIn here. I'm seeing more and more job seekers being vocal, which is great, right? Being vocal and putting themselves out there and creating posts to get them noticed. And, I always tell people, if you're a job seeker and you're brand new to, let's just say you don't post much on LinkedIn and people don't really know who you are, start by introducing yourself, right? First post you should always have is to make your own introduction post where you talk about what you've been doing currently, where your background lies, what you're looking to do next, and then maybe even a fun fact about you, something that people don't know about you, right? Make a post that just reintroduces yourself to your to the community. And then once you finally get that first post out of the way, try to create a schedule for maybe 2 times a week if you can do it. You don't have to post every single day, but 2 times a week. Talk about things that are related to your industry. So for instance, if you're a project manager, talk about the process to get your PMP. Talk about 5 different things that were tough for you to do as a project manager. Talk about, put lists out there. Teach people things, right? That's really what you want to do, is to put yourself out there and teach people things that you know about your industry. And I promise you, as you start doing that, recruiters are going to be doing their Boolean searches, and they're going to be searching for certain people, and they're going to come across posts, and your post might pop up talking about your industry and what you've learned and how you've done certain things and your accomplishments. And all it takes is one person to see that post and say, hey, you know what? This person knows what they're talking about. I love what they're speaking about in their posts. I love their background. Let me reach out to them and see if there's an opportunity if they're looking to interview. You have to get noticed, and you have to try different things. And if you just sit in the background and you just doom scroll all day long, or you're just scrolling through LinkedIn and you're not doing much, not even commenting on people's posts, you're not really putting yourself in the best position possible.
I would just add to that, if I may, Jamie, about posting on LinkedIn. The way that I approached it was to err on the side of quality over frequency. So 1 post that is a good quality post per week versus 3 that are regurgitating kind of platitudes from your industry and using emoticons or memes, as I see many people do. isn't going to cut it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. I want to just see something here. Lauren says, "Oh my goodness, one of my coworkers said the exact same things about LinkedIn today. It is a sign." Well, good. Great minds think alike. I love that, Lauren. Thanks for sharing that. Aisha just gives her contact number for any opportunity. We're not really recruiters here, Aisha, but if you're looking for coaching opportunities, you want to talk a little bit more and see if I can help you out, I'm happy to do so. You can also join Anthony's podcast and his YouTube channel, and he always posts a lot of good videos too about job searching stuff. And I can't really see you, Anthony. We can't see who's all in here, right? You can't see how many people are joined, right?
Yeah, there's only a few people joined. I can see that people are coming in from YouTube or from Facebook. There were a bunch of people that signed up via LinkedIn. They're also, if they are there on LinkedIn, they can see it. But as I say, Jamie, this is not interactive or about the live event as much as it is about getting it done, getting it up there, getting the links put up there, as well as getting it up on LinkedIn through the live event, and then post event, and then people wrote post event, because we only project out in this, whereas your mindset is previously in the audio event, it was more interactive where people come in. But Angela has a question, Jamie. Why don't you answer her?
I'm trying to understand that. She says, "When's it good to highlight breadth and depth of experience, and when is it not? If looking for project or contract work rather than full-time positions, should that be highlighted up front?" I mean, I would hope that if you're looking for project or contract work rather than a full-time position, you should only be applying to those types of jobs, right? I mean, they should clearly say what is a contract role and what is a project role versus full-time, right? If you're applying to a more full-time,
I think that's about age, Jamie. Breadth and depth probably is about age, and going back too many jobs. I'm thinking that's what she means.
I mean, you always want to in your resume highlight, no more than 10 to 15 years of experience, right? Even to be on the low, I would probably be on the closer side of 10 years, honestly. Like, I even tell people I work with that are VPs, I'm like, how much experience do you have, as doing this? I go 25 years. I'm like, okay, well, we don't want to highlight necessarily, we don't say 25 years because that might show your age and your value proposition on top, right? But you still want to go back no more than 15 years, because let's be honest, I mean, anything over that amount, the industry's changed so much, jobs change so much, right? Nobody's really concerned with what you did 20 years ago, honestly. Like, they want to know what you've done in this last 10 years, and they only take 15 to 20 seconds to look at your resume anyway. So like, most of their eyes are going to be fixated on that first page as it is. Now, if you want to get into more of your experience and the depth of your experience, you can always, obviously, when you get that interview and you start talking a little bit more and seeing how the interview goes, you can talk a little bit more about how far back your experience goes if you'd like. But I wouldn't put everything out there on your resume, because first off, you're going to go more than 2 years of 2 pages, most likely, because you probably have a lot of experience, and you want to try to keep your resume 2 pages at that. Stefan, how long is your resume?
It's 3 pages, and it's not so long. And just to add on to what you were saying about how far back in your experience do you go, again, sharing the experience I had interviewing for this role I'm going into, the company was most interested in my experience in another company from about 15 years ago. So a little bit of a counterpoint. So not to disagree, but it turned out that what they were looking for were the experience and skills that I had and demonstrated 15 years ago. And most of the interviews I had were talking in some detail about what I did and what I achieved during that time frame. And I think that because there was a parallel between that previous experience, which is quite old actually, versus where this other company is today, talking about that is what got me the job.
See, I think it really just depends on the industry and what you're like. I have people who go back 15 years, and that experience from 15 years ago, like things change so much that's not really even relevant anymore. Like a lot of the stuff they used 15 years ago, or the programs or different things, they weren't even really relevant that long ago anymore. Like they weren't relevant current to what's current, right? It really just depends on what industry you're in. But like everything changes so much, and things just rapidly change so much that, and Anthony talks about this a lot, you got to continue to learn, you got to continue to grow, you got to continue to get certifications and just make sure you stay on top of things. And you can't, you've got to change with the game. You can't let the game change you, right? So I think that's important to think about too, because like I said, Steph, you're in this new job, you're probably never going to stop learning. There's probably going to be new things that you're going to be doing, and things you might see throughout this new tenure with this company. And it's going to, things might be different than what it was 15 years ago.
I'll be honest, Jamie, that I haven't worked in a corporate role for 5 years. It's been a while. And during that time, AI as a formidable force has risen. And so I don't have direct experience using AI for my job. So that necessitated me really learning about AI and how it's applied in my industry and my field, so that I could talk about it during my interviews. And so I was honest in that I didn't claim to have used AI in HR before, but I was able to talk to what the key trends are, how my opinion about how I think it could really advance a corporate's mission, a company's mission, and where I see AI as a tool in HR going forward. I was able to talk to that.
Good. Love it. Yeah. If anyone else has any questions, please come on up. I'm going to probably hop off a little bit early today just because I got a family of sick people upstairs, and I had to take a little break from being up there. So I wanted to jump on the call here. But yeah, like I said, hiring is picking up. Let's see. Lauren says, how long should a job hunt take on average? Are there better times of the year to look? How long should a job hunt take on average? I mean, that's a very loaded question, honestly. I mean, it just depends on what type of job you're looking for, right? I mean, obviously, the higher up you go, if you're looking at a senior level role, those positions are harder to come by, and there's less people that are able to get those type of jobs, right? So it might take a little bit longer. I mean, if you're looking to get a bridge job, you're looking to just get into a job in maybe a mid-level position or an entry-level role, like, you might find it sooner. I mean, I was reading something recently. They said that, typical job search, to find a job that you really want, the average is close to 6 months, right? I mean, that seems like a long time, right? Compared to what it used to be. I remember the days when you used to just walk into an establishment, bring a folder full of resumes, show your resume, and then somebody would either maybe interview you on the spot, right? But it's just, this market is something we've never seen in the last 4 years, right? I mean, this all happened after COVID, right? And it's taken a lot longer because there's so many people looking for jobs right now. Stefan, how long was your job search?
I've been searching full time for exactly 1 year.
1 year, right? And in that 1 year, you've been consistent with your job search?
No, to be honest, I haven't. I've waxed and waned. There have been periods when I put intense focus on it, and other times during that, over the course of a year, when I focused on other things, such as my Japanese ability. But having said that, during the year, at any given time, I was doing something for my job search, whether it was talking to a recruiter, interviewing for roles, posting on LinkedIn, doing other forms of networking. So the intensity perhaps has varied, but I've been pretty consistent about doing something every day.
Awesome. Lauren,
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
When is the best time of the year, Jamie? I always tell people during the holidays, during the summer, think about whenever time people are not looking. This game is about a lack of competition whenever you can get it.
Yeah.
Tell them that, Jamie.
I mean, you should always apply year round, right? I mean, especially if you're looking for a job, you can't sleep on things, right? But I mean, I will say, like, usually around the time of the holidays, yes, if you find open positions, you should always apply. But there's usually less positions usually available around the holidays when it comes to corporate roles, because a lot of companies are kind of figuring out their budgets for the following year. They're trying to see what, how many people they can hire and what openings they're going to have. Usually around February, March is when things start picking up and you start seeing more jobs come out and people are really hiring for the year. And that's the best times to get in, honestly. Holidays is always good if you just need to start working and you need a retail job, obviously, or a bridge, a job to bridge that gap or something. Then obviously the holidays is where you can find the jobs, because everybody's looking for just workers for the holidays, right? But yes, I would say it's better for corporate world. Probably starting in the next couple of weeks, honestly, we're going to see things picking up a lot.
Stefan, what was your experience with the Open to Work banner? People are very afraid to use it. They think they're going to get scammed. What was your experience?
I had a period when I didn't have it up, and then a period when I did. I didn't notice any difference really in interaction with recruiters or potential hiring companies. To be honest, I don't think it does much one way or the other.
Really? What
Frankly.
about the hiring, Jamie? What about the hiring banner? Or there's another one. There are other ones that I've seen. Have you found any of the other banners that are popping up to be useful based on what people are saying?
No, the other banners that people are using, there's a website you can make your own banner, and it doesn't really help you with your job search. It's more just there for attention getting, I guess you can say, which is what people want anyways. I've seen everything from like, I'm desperate to, mine used to say here to help, right? I mean, none of those banners are going to do anything from an algorithm perspective or have you be found easier. Now, the Open to Work banner and the hiring banner are obviously set up on LinkedIn's platform to be found easier. I always say you should still have it up regardless, even if you don't notice a huge difference. It's just good to have it up, and just if you want to make it only for, visible to recruiters only, then do it that way if you want to. But it's always better to have it up than not. I mean, it's another way for, when I used to look for people to hire, when I was working for Chase, when I was working for AT&T, I would always, I could search for the Open to Work banner, and I could search for certain keywords of those people who were open to work. So it just made it easier for me to find certain people than those who didn't have it up.
Let me ask you this, Jamie. A lot of people don't know this, but recruiters, and Stefan, you'll know this, people in HR and people in recruiting have a different level of LinkedIn that is much more detailed, much more expensive, much more involved. What's that level, Jamie, that people don't know about?
What do you mean the level? Like the different options?
Well, like the level of LinkedIn, like as a recruiter, you would have a much higher level in LinkedIn where it would cost a lot more per month.
Yeah, it's literally called LinkedIn Recruiter, and it's expensive. I don't remember what the price is, but
yeah, I think it was like $500 a month or something.
It's insane.
Or maybe
You
even
don't need
more.
it. As a job candidate, I don't think you need that at the recruiter level.
Well, as a job seeker, it's different. You wouldn't have the recruiter level because that's more for just recruiters. But like, there's still job seekers who like they like to use the premium, LinkedIn Premium, which I think is $29.99 or $39.99 a month. And to be honest with you, like, I think it's too expensive for what you're really getting for it. Honestly, I mean, I never had LinkedIn. I never really had LinkedIn Premium. I think I had a trial for a couple months, and the only difference was I could send some in-mails out to people that I'm not connected to, but I only got like 5. I only had like 5 a month or something like that. It was like, you're still
13.
limited to what you can do.
You get 13, Jamie. I actually kept it even though I've been working, but I noticed that the benefit of my level of service just seems to be closing. And, they're always trying to get me to upgrade, and they're always trying to do something.
Right.
The reality is that what I think sometimes gets lost is LinkedIn is a lifeline for people trying to get a job. They come into LinkedIn thinking that this is my important path to getting access to real recruiters, to real HR people, to real industry professionals, to real people that can help me. And I think sadly, due to AI and some of the scams out there, that I think people get disenchanted and they get disillusioned because I think that they get hit with so much negative experience that they stop doing it. I mean, I myself, when I push out this link to individuals that are open to work that come across my feed, I must do 200 people every 2 weeks, easily 200 every night, 10, 15, 20, 30. Boom, boom, boom. As I'm watching TV, I'll just send. I send this to the LinkedIn, to the premium career group that my level of payment allows me access to. And, I'm happy for anybody I get. But let me tell you, not a lot of people, I believe that my link, though it says LinkedIn on it, and though when you hook on it, it says LinkedIn, believe it's real, Jamie. I really believe that LinkedIn, the people that are looking are not seeing the people that want to help them because they're just broken, broken. And I know that all of us have had good times and bad times, whether we're looking. But talk a little bit about people that are broken, Jamie, maybe on LinkedIn. How do you get unbroken mentally?
I mean, geez, that's tough. You're right, because it's just, you get dragged through the mud when when you're getting these rejection emails and you find, you're getting ghosted and stuff like that. We talk about this all the time, right? The way that you can really, well, to get yourself unbroken, I mean, you could sit there and mope all the time and you could say, oh, woe is me. Why can't I find a job? I'm getting all these rejection emails, and you can put yourself in a slump. And then it starts getting away from you, right? You start not applying as much. You start missing days from applying, right? You start, you start thinking too much about the rejections, right? And you just really need to think about that. This is how the business world is. When you work for a company, it's a business agreement, right? You do the work for them, they give you the paycheck to do the work, right? You just need to find one company that wants to take a chance on you. You don't need to worry about the 20 rejection emails that you got before, the 35 rejection emails you got in the month of December. Like, those don't matter once you get a job, once you get an opportunity. So you just got to remember that you can't take it personally. Like, there's a lot of people who say, well, what could I have done differently? How could they not want somebody with my experience? You don't know that. I mean, it could have been things that were outside of your control. I mean, there could have been things that you could have done. You could have done everything perfectly, and they took an internal hire, or they decided not to hire for the role anymore, or maybe it wasn't what it was all cracked up to be. Like, you got to move on, but you also got to take time away a little bit too, because you don't want to get mentally drained. So go outside, go for a walk, do something fun, take some time to yourself. Like, it's very stressful, the job search, and you need to balance your mental health and your physical health with the strain of being on a job search.
I have two more things to add to that, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I can relate to being in a slump during a job search process. Two things that come to mind. First is that you control what you can control and don't worry about what you can't.
Right.
So if you get rejected, if you're not getting conversations with recruiters or getting interviews, there may be various reasons why that's happening, and probably you can't control most of those reasons. So you just say to yourself that you're not going to worry about that, and what you can control is giving it another shot with a different audience. So that's one thing. The second thing is, when you do get an opportunity, no matter how insignificant or small it seems, just a conversation with someone might be, but you do your absolute best to put your best face forward. So you treat every conversation, you treat every interview, every interaction as a kind of opportunity to market yourself. And I'm not saying being inauthentic or being formal or professional necessarily, but really being mindful about how you're presenting yourself to other people. I think doing both of those two things really kept me in the game, and ultimately led to my being able to get this job.
Makes sense. Well said. I like that. That's good. And I'm gonna hop off here in a quick minute here, but you know, all I want to tell is if anyone's still on this call, if anyone's still on this call, it's a job seeker and whatnot. Just all I can say is don't give up. Your time is coming. You're not going to be unemployed forever. I mean, it's just never happened before, right? I mean, you're going to find something. There's two different ways you can go about it, right? Everybody knows their worth. Everybody understands what their worth is. You know how many years of experience you have. You know how much you're wanting to make based on your experience. And that's all fine and dandy. That's great. I'm not saying that you should, look for something less than what you're worth, right? But I want you to just remember this. Only you know your financial situation. Only you know what you're looking for next, whether that's the money, whether that's the work-life balance, where you are in your career. Only you can answer that question, right? So you also got to take in the state of this job market, right? You got to understand that companies have the pick of the litter right now. They do. Before, it was tough for companies to go out there and find good talent because there was just so many less people looking for jobs. It was hard to find good people. Now the tables have turned. Companies got a lot of choices out there. They can find people that have 15, 20 years of experience. They can start somebody at $20,000 less than what they normally would start them at. Why? Because if you don't take that job, somebody probably will, because they need that job now and they want to just get back to the workforce, right? So you just have to level your expectations. At the same time, too, you don't need to bend over backwards for a company, but you got to have that fine line, and you got to just figure out what is best for you and what's best for your situation with your finances and your family, right? I think that's the most important thing. If anybody's interested in career coaching, if anybody wants to have a conversation with me, I know Anthony posted in the chat, but at the top of my LinkedIn page too, there's a link that says Rock Your Job Search or something along those lines. You can click on that. It'll take you to my calendar. Anybody who has a call with me that's on this call specifically, I'm offering $50 off of any of my services. But you have to make sure that when we have a call, you mention that you were on this video call with Anthony. So that way I know that you were on it, and that way I can, get the discount and whatnot. But yeah, I want to help out as many people as I can. I'm reviewing resumes for free for people as part of the call. All it takes is you to take that step and schedule a call and let me review your resume and talk a little bit more and see if I can help you.
Jamie, thank you. And we'll probably hang around in a few weeks. Let's get your family well, and then we'll schedule our next event. How about that, Jamie?
Sounds good. Stefan, thanks for joining the call as well.
Good to see you, Jamie. Take care.
Yeah, good to see you. Congrats on the new job. Once you are able to announce it, let us know. I'm excited to find out more and to hear more about it.
You bet. I will do.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Okay, Stefan, let's stick to some of my stuff now. You use a lot of my tips and tools. We've talked a lot about interviews or a conversation. You've incorporated that, and it works. Tell people why it works.
Yes, that was one takeaway that I learned from you, Anthony, fairly early on when I started joining your podcasts and video calls. So interview is a conversation. At the end of the day, the people that you're talking to on the other end of the table are people. They're human. So you're one meeting of perhaps many meetings that they're having in a day. Not pointing out that they're busy. We're all busy, but rather there's nothing special about your meeting with them, either good or bad, versus other meetings they're having. So over the course of the day, they're having interactions with individuals and groups of people. So you have to keep that in mind. And I think what that means is that you need to connect. You need to connect with people on a personal level. You need to really look at it as a two-way interaction. So of course you're trying to present yourself and sell your capabilities and your skills, but it's also a chance for you to learn from the individual and by extension their company about the company and the job. And by having that mind freight, I think that takes a lot of the pressure off of the conversation, and it allows for you to really make a connection with the person that you wouldn't be able to make in a more formal Q&A format of a conversation, if that makes sense.
Tell Stefan, what about confidence? How did my podcast and the videos and everything help you to have subconscious confidence? Like I just keep saying certain words to you, they get drilled into your head. Have you found that that was something
Yeah,
that worked for you?
it did. I mean, I've always struggled with being confident in a high pressure situation, and certainly interviews are stressful. And so I think sometimes in previous years when I've had job interviews, a lack of genuine confidence has been an issue for me. And I think what I took away from your your advice, uh, in particular early on, was just like best, being your own number one fan, so to speak. Because you would say, right, if you don't believe in yourself, who else will? And that really stuck with me. And I completely committed to finding all the ways that I could be my own number one fan, thinking
Right.
about what
Right.
makes me special, what makes me unique, why am I the better candidate versus all the other candidates that are applying to the same position, and
Right.
really
And
starting with that.
how about the premise that instead of looking at all the rejections, remembering that it only takes one? That gets in your head too, right, Stefan?
Yeah, I remember that. You would say that a lot, that you just need one job, right? At the end of the day. And if you have enough conversations, you interview with enough companies, you send out enough resumes, and you do it in a thoughtful, targeted fashion, eventually something's going to work out. And in
Yeah.
my case, it took a while, to be honest. It didn't happen overnight. But and by the way, I think my wife had kind of given up on me because it was taking so long for me to find a job. But I believed in myself, and uh, I just believe that eventually, uh, by having success one time out of all the applications I was making, that I would achieve my objective.
And I want to remind everybody, if you look at the bottom of my screen, it shows my YouTube page. Had you checked out any of those videos, Stefan? I know you were a podcast guy. Had you ever watched any of my videos on YouTube as well? To check those
Uh,
out as well.
Yeah, Anthony, I have looked at your YouTube videos. I think the content is great. I think it's just yet another way that you've been able to get out to your audience, which really needs the information and inspiration that you provide. So I can definitely recommend to those on the call that they have a look at your YouTube channel. The price is right, right?
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
telling you, right? But
there's no
Stefan.
downside.
Yeah, Stefan, my premise is always that I'm looking for the people that have just found themselves to be hopeless because I want to restore hope. That because when you're working, you're the farthest thing from hopeless. People are coming, people are going, opportunities are coming. When you were in HR at Takeda or your previous jobs, you were flying, you came home, your brain is, exploding, and, everything's there. And you don't think for 1 second about being broken. But when you're in this situation, You did not ask for it to start, and you don't know when it's going to end. And when you
Yeah.
put those two things together, it just puts cracks in your foundation that I try to glue. But it doesn't mean the cracks are not there, right, Stefan?
I definitely had cracks. And I would just add on to that by saying when I initially left my most previous role, corporate role, when I was with Randstad, there were a number of reasons why I left the company, which I won't get into on the call today. But suffice it to say that it was a combination of professional and personal reasons. Health played a factor in leaving that role. And at my age in Japan, uh, I'm not going to sit here and say that being in your mid 50s is old, but the reality in Japan, where I live and work, is that people by statutory law retire when they're 60, retire from full-time positions. And then if you work after 60, then you go into a contract role. You can do the same job, but you don't have the same guarantee of employment as you would prior to turning 60. So that's kind of a red line, which means that companies naturally hesitate to hire people that are over 50 because they look at you and they think, well, you're going to leave the organization in 5+ years, and so it's just not worth it to them. So being in my position of having left my previous role for various reasons, including health, being in my mid 50s, I think the general consensus among the recruiter community was that I was unemployable. At least that was my perception. And I'm here to tell you that that wasn't the case. That no matter what your situation is, no matter how flawed you think you are as an individual or as a candidate, each and every person has their unique value, their unique kind of value proposition. And it's just a matter of how you package that in a way that will resonate with potential employers. And I think that's ultimately what I was able to do.
Right. And that goes back to what we talked about regarding believing in yourself first. Because when you do that and you believe in yourself first, no matter what happens, you come back alive, so to speak.
Yeah,
Correct?
for sure. Mm-hmm.
Right. And and I want to thank you for playing. Thanks for coming. I actually been thinking about you. I try not to reach out incessantly to like my core. Like I have a group of people that have really been with me. Um, that whenever they're out, they ping me and I say, do this, do this, do this, and this. And they walk away and they got it and they get a job in X amount of time. But the reality is that I like to give people space too, because I sometimes you
I
just don't
understand
want to deal with it. You just want to eat ice cream for a week. You know what I
that.
mean? Like you
Yeah,
just
sure.
want to
Yeah.
just eat M&Ms, or
Mm-hmm.
you just don't want to play. And I could be the worst one for that, because I'll be there. What's up? Update. What do you think? What's going on? What can I do? Like when you're in ice cream mode, I call it. You really just want hot fudge, or you want butterscotch, or you want a topping. You don't want to talk about job search. And that's something that I applaud people doing to rebuild themselves. Because you had said that you had times when you kind of backed away. Talk a little bit
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Sure. Happy to. So during the job search process over the past year, I mean, one area that I think was a contributing factor with not getting a job more quickly was my language ability, not speaking Japanese at a
Oh,
bilingual level. And I live in Japan, and so because of that, uh, potential stakeholders, a company's customers are Japanese speaking only. And so that is a hard reality of that kind of screens me out of a number of jobs, and that also contributed to some degree to a lack of confidence and lack of motivation to consistently keep up my job search. And so what I did about it was I spent a fair amount of time in 2024 studying Japanese, and that took away
Really?
from my job search activity. And I think it was time well spent, not necessarily because I magically became bilingual. I'm here to tell you that I haven't. but
Wow.
on the other hand, I was able to gain confidence to utilize the Japanese skills that I already have, if that makes sense.
Right.
And so, with my somewhat limited ability, I could use my speaking skills in a more dynamic and flexible way with interviewers and recruiters. That and kind of and from that it built on, and I was able to um, be more motivated to continue my search.
Tell me about connecting with the interviewer. That'll be something we'll kind of close on because you're a very articulate, reserved, professional, bright guy. You know what I mean? You can see that in the first 10 minutes when you talk to you. First 5 minutes, actually, Stefan.
Thank you.
Um, you
That's
know,
that's cool.
and I know sometimes you probably discount that because somebody like me is louder, more obnoxious, can be you know, can be a little bit crazy. But someone you're as I say, more professional and more reserved. But tell me about connecting with the interviewer. How'd
Sure.
you do
Yeah.
it?
Sure. Happy to, Anthony. It's a good way to end the call, perhaps. But I think uh, globally relationships are important, but it's especially important in Japan. Having a good relationship with the people you talk to or you work with is highly valued. And so I always think about that consciously. And the way that I approach it in an interview situation, especially if I haven't met the person before, is to focus, but not focus too much on the icebreaker. So how do you set the tone in that first 30 seconds when probably that 30 seconds is going to determine the outcome of the interview, frankly. Your interview may be an hour, but it's going to be that 30 seconds that that person is going to decide yes or no. And so the way you do it is you look for some angle, some way to make a personal connection that has nothing to do with the content of the interview, but you don't overplay it. You don't spend a lot of time to ask them about their family or their hobbies, or say, oh, I noticed on LinkedIn you worked at this and that company. But you can say something that's genuine, that will be of interest to that person, and may lead to more initial chit chat that will then lead into the interview conversation.
Yeah,
So, you know what
I
I mean?
always say scope the room. I always say
Yeah,
scope the room. Look at the walls, look at the pictures. What's this person about? Usually when it's somebody's office, they could be into sports, they could be into various things. Scope the room, and it's always good to have some idea about a lot of different subjects. Even if you don't know a lot, you can at least kind of bring something to it. And obviously, you did thank yous, right, for every interview you went on. I mean, that's a stupid question. That's like,
yeah, actually, yeah, yes. It's somewhat related, but it's part of the relationship building. But uh, it, it kind of felt old-fashioned in a way. But I did after every interview, particularly with this company that I'm going into. I sent a personalized message to each interviewer. In the message, I included a thank you for your time type of message, but I also I built upon what I mentioned in the interview. So, like in my case, being in HR, um, Of course, they're going to ask me about my knowledge about the industry, about the business, about my vision for the HR strategy for the company, about maybe tactical or operational issues with respect to HR, all of those things they're going to ask me. But the interview is only an hour, so you don't have time to go into depth into all of those areas, right? So knowing what they're looking for in a candidate, knowing what the company, what their pain points are, I took the opportunity in the email, not writing a dissertation, but a message that can fit on your screen in its entirety, saying, I thought I would share this and that information for, like, specifically, I didn't have a chance to mention it during my interview with you, but I thought I would just summarize my thoughts on the company's HR strategy over the next 5 years. And I gave them a few bullet points.
Let me
Right?
ask you this. My brain is flying because we've been fooling around for an hour here and I got it. What is the biggest myth that you would like to share with people versus the reality of the world of HR? What do you think people don't understand about your world that you would like to clarify? Because whether people are on right now, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to watch this. Once I post it, it's going to go up on LinkedIn, it's going on YouTube, it's going to be out there. Thousands of people are going to watch this over time. In closing, if
Right.
you had
Okay.
one thing you wanted to tell people about HR and the myth or what is generally perceived, which is
Thank you.
wrong,
Yeah.
what is that? What
It's
I
a great
want you to hell, I want you to change the world here, Stefan.
question.
Change the
Okay.
world on how they
All right.
perceive HR. Change the world on how they perceive HR. All the way
Sure.
from Japan. All the way
All the
from
way from
Japan.
Japan. I'm not on the
Okay.
spot at all with this one. Um, I would say the following. I think there is a perception that is alive and well today that HR is a back office administrative function. And yes, it does have an admin function within HR, as do other corporate functions. But when you look at any organization, an organization is made up of people. And a company, an organization, including for-profit uh, entities, government, nonprofits, whatever it may be, when you have a group of people, there's going to be a mission, a vision, some corporate values, and an operational plan that has to be executed by people. And HR's role in the company is to ensure that the individual actions of the people that are in the organization align with the corporate level purpose and objectives in a nutshell. Without having an HR strategy, organization will not function. And whether or not a company, especially a small one, has a department that is called HR or not, smaller companies may not have an HR department. The HR as a activity, as a strategy, always exists. And so it's very important, I think, for people to understand that perspective. And in particular, no matter what role you're interviewing for, to have an understanding from a people point of view how the function of a particular job connects with the overall vision and strategy of the organization. That's something that everyone at every level has to be able to understand and speak to one way or the other during the interview process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know that you're someone of great substance, and I wanted to thank you for taking the time last minute not only to give
My
me the
pleasure.
great news, to give me the great news of
Yeah,
your new opportunity, but also to sort of like get your brain kind of pushed all over the world by me with my 1,000 questions. But I wanted to make sure that I gave you a proper opportunity to allow people to see a very special person
thank
with a
you.
very special outlook, with a very special mindset, with a consistency and a passion that is unique. So I wanted to
Thank
let the
you.
world see that. And as I say, whether somebody will comment or whether they don't, I don't know. But I just wanted to make sure it wasn't Anthony rapid fire 75 questions and making your brain ooze fluid because I asked too many questions. But I wanted to give you time to answer them because this event is about the people that come, as well as myself, as well as the people in the chat, to feel that they gained knowledge, to feel they've been heard, and to feel that they matter. Right, Stefan? That's what I push, right?
Yes,
You matter.
thank you.
You're great. You're
Everyone
experienced.
matters.
You're a star. You make it. You're awesome. You're going to make it, right? You hear that in your head all the time when
Yeah,
you're asleep, right? And
yes,
I'm just glad it all worked out for you. But any
thank you.
final thoughts you want to give to the people about how to
Yes,
get a job?
yes, I do. Just very quickly, I have zero to gain from this, but I'll put it out there that I'm very happy to support anyone that's on this call now, or who may see this video after you post it. Uh, Support anyone that is looking for a job, who's in a similar situation that I was. In particular, that's one of the following profiles: someone that is in the HR world broadly, someone that is looking for a job in a foreign country, and that may mean being in the US, but being originally from another country and struggling with that. And then I guess the third area is someone that is relatively later in their career. So if one of those three areas resonates with your audience, Anthony, and if they want to ping me on LinkedIn, or comment on one of my posts, or get in touch with me other means, that I'm more than happy to do what I can to support their own job search.
Well, I'll give you the Anthony disclaimer, which is you may get zero, you may get 2,000. I got nothing. I have no idea how many you'll get. So I just want to give you that disclaimer up front. But I want to thank you for making that offer because someone out there who hears this is going to say, that's me. Because all of the different criteria, there are so many people that are one, two, three more of those criterias. I thank you for being available for that, and I thank you for your time. And I can only, again, in closing, wish you the great success. And keep me posted. If you get anybody who's crazy and you don't know how to handle them, ping me. I've been dealing with crazy people in my work life all my life, and I'll tell you how to deal with them. So whatever you need, I'm here for you, buddy. Okay.
Likewise. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Anthony. You take care.
And everybody, whether you come in at the time of the event or later, you have just heard a very special guest in Stefan, a very great career coach in Jamie earlier, and someone in myself that really wants you to get a job because unemployment is such a horrible, horrible nightmare. So all I can tell you is check out the links I put in the chat, watch my videos, listen to my podcasts, because guess what? You've been at the top of the mountain before. There's no reason you can't get to the top, maybe of that same company's mountain when they take you back, or someone else's mountain, because you deserve to have success. You deserve to have a great career. You deserve to have the ability to get ahead. You don't deserve bad experiences, and we're here to help you with it. Break the cycle and get back on top. So, Stefan, final call. Any comments?
I think I'm good. Thank you so much for this opportunity today, Anthony.
Great, and thank you. Have a great. What time is it in Japan right now? By the way, what time is it?
It
It's not like
is
4. It's not like 3 in the morning, is it?
no. It's 9:45 in the morning. It's a
Oh,
nice,
good.
sunny, bright
I
day.
I just thought of that. I said, "Oh my God, if I'm making this poor guy wake up at 3 in the morning." All right,
No.
everybody, thank you, Stefan. Thank you. Best of luck. Keep in touch. Everybody, have a great day. Bye bye, everybody. Please spread the word. Let's end unemployment one person at a time. Bye bye, everybody. Bye, Stefan.